KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the iHeartRadio app. And I got to tell you, it was a heavy weekend for me. You know by now, Stefan Cabezas is still in the hospital. He's still recuperating. And for this show, and obviously the Tim Conway Jr. show, it weighed heavy on all of us. Because not only was there the uncertainty of where Stefan was in his recovery, but also what the future would look like. And I'm here to tell you, I love Stefan with all my heart. I know Mark does. I know Tawala does. I know Tony, who's sitting in for Stefan, does. I know Daniel, our video technical director, does. I know Carnisha does. But there is one person who loves him more than all of us combined, because only a mother understands their child better than anyone else. So I want to bring on the show right now, Barbara, Stefan's mother. Barbara, how are you this evening?
Oh, I'm very, very grateful for everything and how it happened, because the alternative would have been very, much more to bear. But, we're hanging in there, and all your wonderful listeners, his wonderful coworkers and the staff and everyone has been so kind and so supportive. And that's really helped him. He's going through quite a bit right now, but I tell him everything, all the things you do. And he doesn't have his phone. It burned in the car, but he's, he wants to tell everybody thank you and how much he appreciates it. And it really makes a big, big difference, especially for a mother. For me, seeing him in so much pain. And, 3 surgeries within the last since Thursday. It's a lot, but he's hanging in there. He's really a tough guy.
We're all finding out about this at different points. Some found out Thursday night, some Friday morning, some Friday evening when I was on the radio, for example. When did you find out that either your son was missing and unaccounted for, or something was wrong?
Well, I didn't know anything was wrong. In the morning, we always text and talk, and so the morning was fine. So around 9 o'clock in the evening, his father, was always in touch with him. He says, "Hey, he's not responding." And when I tell him something, he always responds, "Okay, I'll be there later, tomorrow, whatever." And he texts me and he said, "Hey, I can't hear." And then I text him, and he normally responds to me. So around 9:30. We're finding out that something is wrong. But I had no idea. He didn't even go to work until Sharon called me about 10 minutes later and said, "Hey, he didn't show up for work." Then, hell broke loose, because I didn't know where he was or what happened. And I called of course, I'm a nurse, so I worked in the ER for 20 years. I called all the police departments, all the hospitals, and they didn't have anything. So we had to, work with a Hawthorne PD, and they came and took a while, and then they said that he was here at Harbor General, but didn't know anything else. That's the first we found out. And then when we got here at 10, they said that all they had was a John Doe. They didn't even have his name. They had a John Doe. And, of course, we don't know what's happening. And we had to wait 3 hours until we were able to see him in ICU. And he was intubated. He couldn't talk. He was, his arm was severely injured, and he had other injuries as well. But that's the first that I got to see my eyes on him, and I just thank God for that.
When you laid eyes on him, I'm quite sure you laid eyes on him as a nurse and also as a mother. What was the first thing that came to mind?
Well, for me as a nurse, he's intubated. What happened? How severe are his injuries? His arm, they had punctured, I think, lungs or fractured lungs. Not lungs, fractured ribs. And they couldn't tell him too much. And the CT was okay, so that's what I was thinking. I was like a neurology looking at him. But what I noticed is that, he was a little groggy, but his eyes, because he went to surgery right when he got here, because the arm injury was so severe that he went straight to surgery. We didn't even know when this must have happened about 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon. So that's when he was brought here, and then he went straight to surgery.
Okay, so
by the time we got,
So you saw him after his first surgery. I just want to get the timeline straight.
Yes.
After he came out of surgery, how soon did he come out of it? While he was in recovery, were you able to speak with him soon? What was your first assessment of him when you got to actually speak with him?
Yeah, well, it was a while because he was in ICU intubated, so he really couldn't respond, he couldn't talk, and I didn't want to get him more upset, with because that machine breathes for you. So I just kind of reassured him we were there. His father got there, and at the same time, and we were both with him, and I could see with his eyes that he saw us, like he could recognize us. So that was a good sign for me. Then I thought, okay, that's good. And then we left because he was pretty groggy at that point, so I wanted him to rest. So the next morning, we couldn't stay in ICU, so the next morning we came as soon as we could.
I know that's your assessment. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. No, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I know that's your assessment of him from a clinical standpoint as being a nurse. Mm-hmm. Now tell me about you as a mother looking at your son.
Oh, I was the emotion of it, and him, the worst thing is not knowing where he was all afternoon and that he had this trauma and thinking that, it was beyond, repair, that he was so injured that it was just a whole lot. And then the emotional strain of it, I just, I did cry the whole time, but in front of him, I try to be strong. But yeah, as a mother, you're just, falling apart. I mean, what can you do? It's just the most horrific thing to see your son there like that.
How did you go about informing other family members, friends? Because the word was trickling out. I know you spoke with Sharon Bellio. She's been the point person for all of his coworkers here at KFI. How did you go about talking to people?
I texted people and they would call me and, a lot of my friends and family, and I let them know. And a lot of people that we're not really in contact with, very frequently, they would contact me and I would let them know.
When you saw it, or did you see it on KTLA? And did that give you a sense? What did you think when you saw that it became something bigger than the moment?
Oh, yes. I mean, I talked to Rick Chambers not knowing, what it would do. And oh, my God, it was so heartwarming. And so I just can't even express it. It was and my son, I showed it to him because I recorded it on my phone. I was here, so I recorded it on my phone, and I showed it to him later when I could, the visit I was open. And he was just so overwhelmed. He really is overwhelmed with all this. He goes, I just didn't know, so many people that don't even know me, they care. And, it was just overwhelming for me too. Absolutely.
He put out a message thanks to Tiffany Hobbs, who saw him and recorded the message. Yeah. Talking, and we got to hear Stefan's voice. He seemed like himself. But in his quiet moments between you and him, and I'm going to go there with you, how is he doing emotionally?
I think right now it hasn't really set in. I mean, he knows and pain and he's dealt with it, but it's going to be, it's a tough road. And he gets very worried. He was very worried about how, he thought he's going to be going back to work next week. That's how his first thoughts were, and we slowly explained it to him that this is more severe. So, yeah, he's very, cautiously optimistic, but we'll see how it goes. And I hope he has his hand he's left-handed, and there's a lot of severe damage.
If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking with Barbara, Stefan's mother, who's also an RN, who can also give us all sorts of real insight as to Stefan's condition, his injuries, and also the road ahead. Barbara, can I get you to hold on? Because I would love to continue this conversation with you.
Sure.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're talking about Stefan Cabezas and getting an update on his health status. We're live everywhere on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app, and we're live on social media for our video simulcast. And if you're just tuning in, I'm speaking with Barbara, who is the mother of Stefan, who as part of Later with Mo Kelly and also the Tim Conway Jr. show, who was horribly injured in a tragic accident on Thursday. He's been in the hospital since, and Barbara has told us that Stefan had his third surgery today. And Barbara, I want to pick up right there. What can you tell us that you feel comfortable sharing with us as far as his latest surgery?
It's in a way, it's a wait and see because there's so much inflammation and damage that they're just cleaning the area out because he scraped his arm, around on the, what do you call that, the divider or the pavement, and all that dirt went in there. So they're cleaning a lot and constantly, checking to see. So right now there's really no extensive repairs that are being done, but that's basically, and then maybe putting a synthetic skin on there since he has, no skin. So they're going to do that. And right now he's still not out of surgery. He went in surgery about 3:30 today, and I'm still waiting to see him after surgery.
Do you think that you'll have a chance to talk to him, or will he be just out for the most part?
I'll see. The last time he was in quite a bit of pain, so he wouldn't have been able to talk. But I don't know, this time how it will be, how extensive. They did do a little bit more pain management, so I'm hoping that will help this time.
I know that you've been busy, so you may not have been listening to KFI, but Tim Conway Jr. had the opportunity to talk with two of the individuals who are responsible for saving your son. Have you had any contact with any of those people?
No, I have not, but funny how things work. When I took him into surgery, I walked down to the car to kind of sit in the car and drink some water and kind of sit for a bit. And I had his show on, and I heard it, and it was very, I'm very grateful. It's very emotional because, I thanked them so much that they were there and they helped him, because from what he told me is when they were pulling him out of the car, they sat him, on the pavement. And I guess the gentleman's wife was a medical person, I think an ultrasound technician. And he said, he goes, "Mom, she was like you. She was so worried about me." And I really thank them from the bottom of my heart because we didn't have to stop, And he didn't think that the car was going to, catch fire like that. But when they sat him down, it was pretty close, adjacent to the car. And then I don't know if it was him, because I think there were two gentlemen there.
Yes.
One gentleman said, "Hey, let's move because I think this car's going to blow." And so they moved him. And as soon as they barely start moving away from the car, it just went up in flames.
What were your thoughts the first time you saw the video of your son's car burning?
I almost fainted because at that point when I first saw it, I don't remember exactly the time because everything was, going all together. I remember the time, but I really didn't know that much about what was going on with him yet when they sent that video, and it shocked me. It really did, because I was so frightened to see what happened, with any head injuries, because he said the car rolled over. So yeah, it was very, very, very traumatizing.
Let me back up one bit. I was mentioning the individuals who were helping save your son. I know that either Sharon Bellio, she's probably listening right now. Is it all right if we put you in touch with them so you can connect with them?
Yes, absolutely. I really would like to thank them.
Has it emotionally settled for you? Are you at a place where you feel comfortable that your son is in a good place, or are you still very concerned, at least in the near term, what is confronting him?
I'm concerned. Well, I think he's stable. Somewhat, stable. So that gives me a little bit of comfort that, the future is still very, we don't know. I mean, it's severe damage. We don't know. But as far as his, his emotions, he's trying to see everything the best way he can. That's his personality. He's always been like that. So he's trying to be like, well, we'll just handle this today and, see what happens right now. And he's taking it, very well. And I'm trying to be there with him. I am concerned of the future because of how he'll be able to use his hand, because the muscles and the, many fractures, they haven't repaired the fractures, but muscle and tendon damage. So I don't know what the future. So I'm kind of unsure about that, but I'm trying to really be positive and, think that way.
I know it's probably too early to know at this point, but if I could get you to put your nurse hat back on for a moment, looking at his chart, as they say, if you were to guesstimate how long he would stand to be in the hospital at this point, would you be able to quantify?
No, because I don't know like right now their plan is cleaning. I don't know how many surgeries, and they can't really tell me that. And I'm not especially in this kind of, it's an unusual and very critical injury.
Mm-hmm.
So even the surgeons that I speak to, they're kind of, we're taking it. He says it's going to be like phase by phase, phase by phase. And right now we're waiting for the swelling to go down and the damage to go down. I know that after the first surgery, his pain was so severe because he felt that the bandage was severely, like really tight. And then that's why they say there's so much inflammation. So for me, even as a nurse, it's very, very hard to see what will happen next. I mean, this is like his third one, and it's still relatively, still injured,
I don't know if you had a chance to see some of the social media reactions. We've posted the video from Stefan that he recorded from his hospital bed, and it gave people, KFI listeners, the opportunity to tell him how much we love them. KFI listeners have raised more than $97,000 at this moment.
I saw that. It's just so, it's the overwhelming love and the consideration for him. It just astounds me. I really did. I wanted to thank all of them, and he really also wanted to show appreciation of the caring. He goes, they don't know. Some of them don't know me, and they're still, caring about me. And he was very, very. I mean, he was pleased. That really, it was overwhelming. I can't even. I don't even have words to express that.
How about this? We love you. We love your son. We thank you for coming on tonight, because this is not, obviously, you're not your priority, but we appreciate you giving us just a little bit of your time. While you're at the hospital, we can hear the noise in the background.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. There's nothing to apologize. I mean, that's where we would want you to be for your son. But thank you for just giving us a little bit of your time.
And yes, and thank you. And thank the whole iHeart team and the beautiful, wonderful, caring, loving, these listeners. I just love you very, very much. You've made my son made him smile with everything that he's going through. I really love you, and thank you all very, very, very much from my heart. Thank you.
Thank you for opening up your family to us, and we'll be in touch, and any information that you feel comfortable sharing, we'll be more than happy to receive. Okay.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you very much.
Barbara, have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere, the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Mr. Mo Kelly, Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the iHeartRadio app. And that conversation is one, it's not scripted. I was just speaking with Stefan's mom, Barbara, who's a registered nurse. I'm just asking questions off the top of my head, what I think you would want to know, what I would want to know, because I'm asking about my friend. I'm not having a typical interview with a guest about their book or their TV show or their movie. I'm a really invested interest party in the conversation. It's like, how's my friend doing? How is your son doing? And I know that was not an easy conversation for her, okay? And I appreciate if you're still listening, Barbara. Thank you for coming on the show. Tawala, what did you think as you were just listening to the conversation?
It's interesting how close the sentiments she expressed are even some of the sentiments that my own mother expressed when she was listening on Friday's show, and how much the conversation on Friday touched her and how much we poured into Foosh. It's nothing short of amazing, the dedication that you all have to your family and your KFI family, especially, and what you all did. And I heard that in Barbara and her talking about what KFI writ large has done for her family, for her son, how much KFI means to the Foosh. And I think that is what made it so easy for her to at least come on and let us all know from her perspective what went down, how he's doing, what lies ahead. Hearing it from his mother, the person, like you said, loves him more than any of us combined. And I could hear it in her voice as the conversation was going on. I was like, oh, she's going to break. Oh, because this is painful for her.
Yeah. I didn't know. Well, you and I always talk off the air about you never know who's listening. And Friday, when I'm talking about Stefan from a very personal perspective and a professional perspective, I didn't know his mother was listening the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking she's doing the hospital thing, and she was being mindful of her son, but not listening to the station. She was listening, and it was touching. It was heartwarming, but it almost scared me a little bit because I wasn't ready for that. You know, it just seemed like, gosh, I'm talking to his mother from a distance during a very precarious moment in her son's life.
Yeah.
You just never know who's listening.
Yeah. And I think we would be remiss if we did not once again reiterate how much the support is going towards making sure that Foosh is okay in the long term, making sure that Foosh has time to recuperate, time to heal, because hearing the depth of what happened with his arm, and I'm just like, ooh, like I'm almost squeamish back there, like listening. We know that that he has a long road ahead of him. And I know that the GoFundMe is just shy of 97.3. I hope and I pray that the giving does not stop, and that in listening to Barbara Spreet, that tonight we can take this GoFundMe to its goal of 110,000.
Yeah, and the money is secondary, of course. We're not trying to make it the most important thing, but it's important in the grand scheme of things. Talking to Barbara, hearing from, if you were listening earlier, Tim Conway Jr. show, to two of the gentlemen who were responsible for saving his life, there was so much which went into that, saving his life, and now there's so much more in front of him. The GoFundMe is very important. Yeah. Let's just be very honest. It is very important, because if you were listening to either of the conversations, you get a sense of the severity of his injuries and how long before he would get back to some degree of normality.
And I forgot he's a lefty.
She reminded me in the middle of the conversation.
I'm listening. I'm like, oh no, Foosh and Mo are lefties. Yeah. And I know he said that he's able to use his right hand, like say when pitching or doing some things, but naturally he's a left-hander. And I'm like,
I try to tell people all the time, try to use your offhand for everything for one day, and you will see how not ambidextrous you are.
Right.
You know, from brushing your teeth, combing your hair, holding a glass of water, to anything that you have to do with your body.
Yeah.
It's not something that should be just overlooked. But I was more encouraged that Barbara, was able to give us a more clinical understanding of what he's dealing with, and also had time to be emotional and a mother as well. And she was able to go back and forth between those hats. And I was pleased because it gave us a better sense of what's going on. It gave us a truer sense of his injuries, what the future looks like, and also the types of treatment that he's receiving. I think all of us now have a better understanding of what these surgeries are for, how they're going to eventually reconstruct portions of his arm. They're going through a cleaning process right now, something I didn't think about, you know, and how it's going to be surgery to surgery. It's not understood that this is the last one or the next to the last one. It's as they go.
No, I could imagine the swelling alone, being able to do what you can, but you don't want to go in too deep. You don't want to damage tissue unnecessarily. You don't want to basically go poking around until the swelling goes down and you can actually see what it is that you are working with. Yeah, I'm like hearing it from that perspective. I'm like, wow.
I happen to be a person of faith. And I'm not proselytizing, but I view things through a different lens. I do believe in providence. I do believe that the people who saved his life were put there for that specific purpose. I do believe that Stefan's mother being a nurse in this situation is intentional in the sense of it is going to help him. And I think all these things work together for good.
Absolutely. Amen.
It's later with Mo Kelly. When we come back, we're going to lighten it up and change directions. And I'm only going to be speaking to the older folk like Mark Ronner when we come back, because I know Mark Ronner's old enough to remember AOL dial-up. I'm not. I'm just a babe. I don't remember it.
You didn't have the...
You've got mail. No, that was my mother.
Oh, wow.
I think she still has AOL. Tony, in for Stefan. Did you have AOL dial-up at any time?
Oh, I had Prodigy before that.
Oh, gosh.
With the 96 baud modem.
Yeah, my first internet provider was Earthlink.
Yes.
And I used the Netscape browser.
There was no browsers back then when I was doing Prodigy stuff.
Oh, no. When I was a teenager, yes, I was doing the BBS, the bulletin board system, with I think it was like a 3600 baud modem.
Yeah.
Mark, what about you? Your earliest memories of the internet?
You can leave me out of this and go back and make a phone call on one of your old candlestick phones. You think I'm going to take part in this nonsense?
Yes, because you're older than all of us.
You're older than all of us, and I look younger than all of you.
That's not what cameras do, Mark.
No.
Cameras don't make you look younger. That's not what they do.
We will debate this more on the other side.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the iHeartRadio app. And when I say we're live on YouTube and we get to see the show, the video simulcast, boy, we've come a long way from AOL dial-up. Let me tell you.
It's a moment of silence for the sound so familiar to some of us. Listen. Welcome. That's right. That's a blast from the past, at least a blast from my past. AOL says it is shutting down its dial-up internet service after more than 40 years. CNBC senior retail reporter Courtney Reagan joins me now.
Wait a minute. 40 years? No, can't be 40 years. 40 years would be 1985. Nah, we didn't have the internet back in 85, not AOL dial-up. We had bulletin board systems. I was in high school at that point.
That's a blast from the past, at least a blast from my past. AOL says it is shutting down its dial-up internet service after more than 40 years.
That's got to be a typo. It's got to be. I'm saying, because Al Gore didn't invent the internet in 85. Don't laugh at my joke, Tony, and not give me a rim shot. I know you're filling in for Stefan, okay? But you don't have to act like Stefan and be stingy with the rim shots. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think the first time I got any type of dial-up internet, it was after college, because in college the internet did not exist. And I'm thinking like maybe 93, 94? Do you remember your first email address that you ever had, Tony?
Would have been my dad with AOL, which would have been in 92.
Okay.
91, 92, I want to say.
I had AOL Messenger. That was like the first internet club.
Oh, God.
Those hangouts were something else.
Amen.
Yes. I remember, I wonder if my AOL Messenger login still works or my handle still works. My first email address was shaft_q@earthlink.net. Don't ask me why I remember that. Mark, don't you sniggle at me.
Of course it was Shaft, Mo. Of course.
I remember what my dad went through to get an email address. I'll never forget.
Do you remember your first one, Mark, by chance?
I really don't. And I know I had an email account at my first newspaper job, which, of course, I abused. And I didn't have any of that stuff at home. So, you got to be careful what you look at work.
Yeah. But I mean, we've come so far as how we use the internet for everything. Be it business, be it personal, and to think that it used to be dial-up modem on a landline, and it would tie up the line. If you were on that line with a dial-up, no one could call you. You couldn't call out. I remember I had to disable call waiting, all that kind of stuff. It was such a simpler time.
No doubt. Spiderwebs, that song was literally, it's about you can't get through.
Mark, do you remember the first provider you had?
No, I really don't, because like I said, I just used the stuff at work. I didn't have any of that stuff at home. I went through a period of time where I didn't have cable or TV or anything at home. I compartmentalized all that stuff at work. So it was quite some time before I got any personal accounts.
Carnicia, you're a lot younger than all of us. What is your earliest memory of the internet, and do you remember what your first ISP internet service provider was?
I remember us having Bell South.
Bell South. Yeah, I did have AT&T.
Yeah.
For quite some time. Mm-hmm. And they were horrible. They were just absolutely horrible. AT&T, let me digress for a second. AT&T used to make you bundle. You could have internet, but you had to pay for the landline package. And I said, I just want the internet. I don't, at that point I had started using mostly my cell phone. It wasn't a smartphone. It's just cell phone back then. And I had a landline, but all it was doing was serving as a place to collect messages on my physical answering machine. And I didn't really need it anymore because I wasn't really talking to people on my landline anymore. So I called AT&T one day. I said, look, I just want the internet. And this is before they had this internet only plan and bundle. I think it's all because of me when I left them. I think they changed their whole corporate strategy because of me. Well,
they weren't going to turn down somebody with Shaft in their username, were they?
I knew I shouldn't have said that to you. I knew you were going to bring that up. It's shaft_Q at earthlink.net.
Shaft Q.
I think I should just send an email to see if it bounces back.
Yeah.
Did you ever use the Netscape browser at any point?
Probably.
I know. I can't remember because if you don't know, Carnicia, you may not know. It used to be where we had a physical phone book of all these internet addresses. It was like the internet yellow pages. This was pre-search engines. There was no Yahoo. There was no Lycos. There was no Alta Vista. There's no Google. It was just the internet phone book.
Don't forget Jeeves.
Jeeves. Ask Jeeves. Oh, my goodness. Yes.
Web crawler. There was a ton of them.
Web crawler, yeah. So AOL dial-up is going away on September 30th, and according to CBS News, about 163,000 households had dial-up as of 2023. I assume that's even fewer now, some 2 years later. Probably old people.
And they used to send you the discs in the mail over and over again, and people would make projects out of the discs.
Art. They would make art out of them.
Yeah, you could make a cabin out of them if they sent you enough.
I guess they were for like updates as far as software and security or something like that. Internet security.
Also, Frisbees.
Yeah. I never personally had AOL dial-up. My mother did. She probably still does at this point, for all I know. But I never paid for AOL. I think it was like $19.99 or something like that a month. I can't remember, but you know. But people actually bought it. It's a sad day in internet history. No, it isn't. Thank God. It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
KFI and KOST HD2. Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.